Welcome to episode 48 of the Brew Crew Scoop. It is February 24th. Spring training games have just started, but that's about all that's happening for the Brewers. One minor transaction with two residual minor transactions, but I won't spoil it. I won't blow the whole load on the first 5 seconds of this podcast. So you guys,
That's your
how's spring
specialty.
training going?
Spring training, I will say honestly, this podcast with spring training going, a couple of very minor moves we've made finally feels like baseball is kind of back. And we had such a quiet off season that it was hard to get kind of re-excited. Last year we at least had Reese, we had DL Hall, we had stuff kind of going on, kept us um, you know, locked in, where the only news this off season was terrible news. So it kind of feels like the new season's actually finally upon us, and finally something to look forward to.
Yeah, I totally agree with that first statement that, it's some minor, maybe for you guys, minor transactions. One big transaction for my heart. Um, but with the games being back and, the social media team does a really good job of like painting the picture that it's warm there and they're having a good time, even though it's cold as shit here. And, it snowed a ton, like the
The
first day
snow's
pitchers
melting,
and catchers
baby.
reported. So, but even today when I walked outside for the first time, it was like a little warm. It was probably like 46 degrees, felt like 80. Oh, baseball's back. I'm excited. About to pick up some opening day tickets. I got my buddies hounding me to get them done. I know you guys are doing the same. So, it's getting to that time. For anybody that doesn't know, obviously, single game tickets went on sale on Valentine's Day. So, scoop up your opening day tickets. See what I did there?
Oh, I saw. Yeah, Blake Perkins fouled the ball off his shin. He's out for at least the first month of the season, and the Brewers immediately supplemented that move with signing Manuel Margot and Mark Canha to minor league deals with spring training invites. No such thing as a minor league deal, or sorry, a bad minor league deal, but underwhelming, I guess. But at least we did something. Mark Canha, fan favorite.
I will say, Mark Canha being back, my heart is happy. I didn't purchase his uniform, his jersey, after his last stint, and now I feel like this is God just putting it on a silver platter in front of me. So I will be definitely purchasing that if he makes the opening day roster. And then obviously Manuel Margot, kind of like a cult favorite, just for being him. He's played on some smaller market teams and some bigger market teams, and he's been around. So I'm excited to see what he's got left in the tank. I'm not gonna lie.
Canna's got
Yeah,
to make the opening day roster now, Kean, because Pat Murphy switched numbers for him today.
I did see that. Did see that. So you would think that would be a good sign, but then again, I could see Pat Murphy just not caring at all what his number is, so
Yeah.
he would just get up if anybody asked for it.
yeah. It's weird because like they're related moves, but like Margot doesn't play center anymore, anyways. And Mark, I just saw today that they said he's not going to even play outfield. Probably they looked at him as a DH and a first baseman. So maybe that means Reese is probably picking up center in some of those games. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, but it's something at least. I'm guessing Margot just ends up in AAA and maybe chooses to stay with us or whatever, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting fit with Hoskins at first, I think, just because they're both right-handed hitters, so it doesn't even like solve the. I don't know. I think Jake Bowers is still going to be on this team in 2025.
With Mark and Reese?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like at this point there's a better shot of Jake Bowers making the roster than Mark Canha.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just think that this was a deal that probably the both sides wanted to get done, and I assume Mark Canha is hoping that, not hoping, but somehow a spot opens up, whether that's injury or something like that. Um, and if he doesn't make the roster, I'm sure he'll just sign on somewhere else. I mean, you got to get at bats to get looked at. So signing a minor league deal with a team you are kind of familiar with, whether or not you're going to make the team, probably wasn't a horrible idea for him.
Yep. Um, Abner Uribe, turns out his torn meniscus last year was from playing hacky sack in AAA, and I tweeted how it was hacky sack in AAA, ended the season, torn meniscus after being sent down because he was suspended because of a fight because he was probably frustrated that his ERA was a 7, and so it was like the most spiraled out of control, bad season, bad second season for Abner Uribe. So hopefully that's all done with, and 2025 will just be good for the young flamethrower.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say I'm interested to see if he makes the opening day roster strictly because that's the best time for him to serve his suspension with all the off days that are built in and stuff. So, regardless of how he does in spring training, I'm really curious to see how they kind of work that in. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's what like it's a lengthy suspension, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 5 games maybe.
Yeah, it's not like
Three,
1 or
three
2
or
days.
five.
So
I think it's 5.
Yeah.
that's pretty long for a reliever, man. I don't know, but hopefully that he pitches well enough in spring training to where it's kind of a no doubter that he makes the opening day roster.
We'll see. It's a pretty crowded bullpen, but especially with he has options and so on. So I'm sure at some point we'll see him though, right? Going into the same time last year, people were saying he was the set or this closer until Devin got
Closer.
back.
Yeah, he
So,
would have. He may have been.
well, he was, and then he was not
Yeah.
good, so he
Well,
wasn't.
right. He had the
But
first
yeah,
crack at it.
yeah, yeah. No, it'll be good. Kind of maybe a little less pressure on him this time around. So
Yeah.
take it easy.
Biggest non-Brewers news, I'd say, like general MLB news. I don't know. It's been a long time. Maybe there was bigger, but they were really testing out the automatic balls and strikes system in spring training. I feel like generally once we get to this point, it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time before we see it in MLB. So we'll see if it's 2026 or if it's after that. But I don't know. I haven't really had like a strong stance either way. I do hate when like terribly blow ball and strike calls, but at the same time, um, there's a feel I feel like for a situation in baseball where you're giving more at certain times as an umpire, and maybe that shouldn't be the case, but yeah, I mean, I certainly don't want to see a World Series ended on a called strike three, 6 inches off the plate, but at the same time, I have questions about the automatic ball and strike system. Like I was seeing today, it's like 17% to 35% of your height is like the zone. That's the bottom and top of the zone. So I don't like, I mean, it makes sense because obviously you can have the same zone for Altuve and Judge, but I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. It's like, I can't think of another rule in sports off the top of my head right now that's like that. So curious to see how it plays out.
I really like it, but on the flip side, can you imagine like a really high octane game ending on an ABS call, reverse
Mhm.
call, like for a walk off walk or even a strikeout? Like that's just wild to me. Like even if it was like a wild card game that ended like that, like that's just it seems silly to me, but I think it's good for the game just for the fact that everybody has loved it so far. I haven't seen somebody say anything negative about it. And with how negative, umpires or referees are looked at these days, I mean, I think that this is a really good step in the direction for MLB umpires to have some of that pressure taken off their back, and maybe it'll even help their game.
Yeah, I feel like when they first announced it leading into this year, I was pretty excited about it. But I will say, like the first clip I saw was Yu Darvish in camp, and that pitch like looked so good, and it was a ball by like a millimeter. So when it happens in practice like that, I feel like it's going to be kind of hard just because it takes away. I don't know, like Scoop was saying, it's kind of an arbitrary zone, but it definitely will benefit guys like Tyler Black, for example. I know when he came up last year, he was
Mhm.
struggling because he knew his zone so well at the minor league level that it was reinforced by um, the robot ump down there. So I think for especially younger players, it'll help their comfortability a little bit to know that's there. But I know the other thing too, Scoop probably I was probably listening to the same thing you were, but they were also talking about how what it's catchers, pitchers, and then the batter that can challenge, and they're definitely gonna have to choose what players are allowed to use it because some guys
Right.
are just don't know their own zone very well, or pitchers get way too
Mhm.
riled up. Like I don't think a pitcher should probably ever call it, but they're probably the one that'll want to call it more than anybody. But
Yeah.
the catcher should probably be the one calling it, as they would know if it was in the zone or
Mhm.
not. But it'll be really interesting to see how it's deployed.
Yeah, and interesting that like with it only being on a challenge basis, like on the flip side of that, I'm now thinking like, all right, what if like your catcher thinks, I don't want to burn a challenge here, and then you see the replay and they're like, oh yeah, it would have been overturned, and that then it's like a whole new element of like we're no longer looking as much at catchers how good they are at framing. Now we're starting to look at how good they are at knowing the zone, and that's could be interesting. Could just be a non-factor, but I feel like at some point it's gonna loom large. Keen to your point about how it might be weird for like a playoff game to end that way. I will say, I feel like it'll be better than like I'm watching like basketball games recently. Like any close game, like they review everything, and every review takes like 3 to 4 minutes, and it's like absolutely ridiculous how long the last 2 minutes of regulation takes in an NBA game. At least with this ABS system, it seems like it's a tap on the head and it's like a 2 second feedback. So I do like that better than like the drama of 3 minutes of seeing if a guy got the ball off of his fingertips before the buzzer hits. So hopefully it's not too bad. There's going to be trade-off everywhere, but hopefully the trade-off is worth it. So, but like I said, it's gonna happen. It's just a matter of how soon. I don't know if you guys had anything else super important to talk about because I honestly don't have anything that's like dying to like get squeezed into the podcast. So, I'll
Well,
let you
I
guys
think
go.
one of them is certain somebody I think had a influenced a rule change that would allow people that look like Scoop and I to finally play on a
Oh, the
certain team.
Packers challenging the tush push. I saw that.
No,
Yeah.
former Brewer Devin Williams seemingly pushed the line and modernized the Yankees a wee bit, allowing well-groomed facial hair in the form of beards now, which is funny because I know people were sending around the picture of a cleanly shaved Devin and what that would look like, and some folks might have been laughing, but now apparently he's allowed to have a clean-cut beard.
Um, you could argue I saw on Twitter that Mike Fires' G beard that he rocked like like 10 years ago. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Have
don't know
you
if I
guys ever
do.
seen that? Oh, he perfectly groomed it so it was like this, and then it wrapped around to a mustache, and that was it. They're like that is well maintained. That is a clean beard. So yeah, it's just funny. It's funny like because you think like it was supposed to be like a professional thing, and like a lot of people associate tattoos with being unprofessional, but like meanwhile Strowman doesn't have facial hair, but he has like face tattoos. But like it overall just talks like shows how stupid the facial hair rule was to
Well,
begin. But it's
don't
just like
give don't give the Yankees any idea because they might ban facial tattoos and get out of that Stroman contract.
yeah, right. Yeah, that was interesting. I Strowman, I mean, I can appreciate him as a baseball player, but sometimes he's a little, I don't know, annoying
I think
interview at
his
times. But yeah, that quote saying like, "Nah, I'm a starter." Like I like the attitude, but the Yankees are pretty good, so don't
yeah,
stink. Like, you know.
I think
I don't
his
know.
oddly public thing was better than what's going on for the Red Sox as of now. But I'm sure all this talk will go away for everybody. But Tristan Casas stating who his third baseman was, and then stating what
Yeah,
prospect should or shouldn't be on the opening day roster was a little bit crazy in my opinion too.
yeah, that was brutal.
I might be in the minority in this, but I like the tradition rule of the no facial hair. It's something that just stuck out and was odd and was kind of like part of that Yankees way, that Yankee culture. So I don't know. I didn't have to shave a beard. Obviously, I don't have one. So it would be like if I had to shave my mustache. Like I guess that would piss me off. But then again, I'd be making millions of dollars. So sometimes it's not like they're sacrificing for nothing. Um, but I mean, I'm not mad to see it go away, but I just thought it was kind of a cool thing, niche thing that the Yankees did.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would stay. But seeing Devin Williams without a beard again was frightening.
I gotta say that I think that it was more of a fans complaining thing, and I think like people are like, "Wow, what a stupid," like myself included, what a stupid rule that like they don't like. How are no players standing up for it, like like to
Yeah,
get it shut down? And I feel like most players probably went there. They're like, "Oh,
who
okay,
cares?
sound
Yeah,
like whatever, sure,
I
like cool."
think.
Some people probably thought, "Oh, this is cool, Yankees tradition." Some people probably thought, "Whatever," like, and it was
Yeah,
probably just fans being fans.
I kind of liked it too, Kian. I get what you're saying. I honestly feel like them not being as good, well, as many championships and
Right.
stuff recently,
Right.
just more eyes on them that like if they're not gonna be by far the best team, they can't have like these extra arbitrary rules anymore. Like some of the lore is kind of gone almost. But
Right, because when we were kids, that was like it's probably since like their last World Series won in 2009. Like from that point forward, they were like before that for like what 40
mhm.
years, it was like the utmost privilege to
Yeah,
be to
exactly.
be a Yankee.
It's the
Like you were
price you could
honored,
pay. Yeah, like
right? You were
oh,
honored to like
mhm.
be part of and now they're probably thinking like, ah, shit, like we got to get with the times because people don't actually just choose this place just to choose this place. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously the money too, but the money's
Everywhere.
they're not the richest team anymore. So,
Are the
um,
Dodgers the new Yankees in terms of
I
like
mean, I would
where
argue
everybody
the
wants to
close.
go?
They should move
Or
back to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that?
They're the closest to like when we
What
think like the evil
were?
empire.
Yeah,
They're the closest to it now, but I don't think that we'll ever comprehend truly what it was like for like the 90s and 2000s Yankees, like because we were kids and for half of it, not alive for half of it. Like everyone wanted to go there and they paid way more than they had to. Like, so
Yeah, a lot of
I find it funny that it was Steve Cohen and the Mets for like 6 months too, if you don't remember that.
yeah.
Before the Dodgers just came in and were like, yeah, screw this, we're
Mm-hmm.
just going to spend a ton of money. I
Mm-hmm.
do that blip on the radar. It was the Mets for a good second, and then they signed Soto's. I don't
yeah,
know.
it still
Mm-hmm.
kind
A
of
lot of
is the
parity
Mets.
on the big market teams right now. There's not really that one that's just kind of. I mean, the Dodgers are signing everybody and their mother, but then the Mets go out and get the biggest fish this year. So good for the big market teams, I guess, to have parity like that.
Yeah, like the Cubs.
Yeah, the Cubs
They
got
actually did make a move,
they got
but
Tucker,
we'll see what
man.
they
I
keep.
I love that move for them. Every day I see him in a Cubs uniform, it makes me angry.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the prediction pod, but that's not today.
Yeah, well,
Don't
we
have to
can
do
only
that
hope
yet.
that he leaves at the end of the season and they just get a pick. And that's the
I
end.
hope that they suck and they trade him at the trade deadline. That would
Yeah.
be the best thing for us, I think.
I don't know if it'll
But I
happen,
don't.
but that would be
Yeah,
funny.
that would be really funny.
I don't know if you guys have followed any of the games so far. I know Ashby kind of got lit up, but I'm not really reading into it. I actually saw some of his metrics were actually pretty good. His velo was good, so hopefully he just keeps tuning up, and I don't worry about spring training stat lines. But at least the
Yeah.
velo was there.
I was going to bring that up too. I really want Ashby to succeed, and for anybody that's like, why do they keep using him as a starter? Why do they keep trying? You do realize that Ashby is getting paid like a decent chunk of change. Like he's not, pre-arb anymore. They signed him to that multi-year deal. So of course they're going to try him out as a starter to get their money's worth rather than have him be the sixth inning reliever making probably $3.5 to $4 million. I don't know the exact number. But I know he's making more than your usual middle of the uh, bullpen kind of pitcher for the Brewers would make. So that's why I assume they're just going to hammer him as a starter as much as possible.
Well, no one had a worse day than Evan McKendry. He went 2/3 of an inning today and gave up 6 earned. Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think especially with the Hall situation, Ashby's at least going to be given a shot. But I think we have good depth between Chad Patrick, Carlos Rodriguez, if we need a different five starter too. Or we the trade. What is it? Tyler Alexander? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a guy, a body with
I'm
some
saying
Yeah.
starts.
I kind of like his stuff. Not gonna lie.
Carlos Rodriguez had a good start
Yeah.
a couple days ago as
Yep.
well. He didn't give up any runs. Um, So I'm excited to see what he. We have a lot of intriguing starting pitching options, and I know it felt like we had too much last year, and then it ended up not being enough. So I'm really interested to see what when we do the predictions pod and final roster. I'm really interested to see because last year I feel like it was kind of cookie cut. Like we were debating like the last bullpen guy, and that was
Yeah,
about it.
there's as of now,
Where I
there's
think
definitely still a lot of bullpen spots with a
there's
little
be
bit of a
a.
question mark.
I feel like we're gonna have a lot of parity in our predictions for the final roster. I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, but at the same time, I still do feel good about the bullpen.
Yeah, I feel good about it too.
Like
It's just
I
right.
think we just have a lot of
yeah,
guys that are
guys without
unproven.
Mhm.
options. Yeah,
Yep.
minor league invites and
I feel good about Mears. Obviously, McGill. I'm still very optimistic about Uribe because why would you
a
not
lot
be?
of the predictions don't have him on the opening day. It's early,
Well,
but
I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't an open day roster either, just because of how last year played out. But if you told me that he didn't play a big part in this year's bullpen, I'd be surprised.
yeah,
Whether it's a positive or negative, I feel like he's going to get a lot of run. Um, and eventually, like, dude tops out at like 103. He's got to be able to contribute to the team. So, um, but yeah, Mears has had his moments, and he's still got Pagero and Piumps that are
big
generous.
Huddy,
Yep, Hudson. What?
I'm really curious to see what
Koenig.
Piguero and Piamps look
I mean,
like.
I'm not saying that they're
I'm,
going to be our setup and closer, but
I don't, and you know what? Maybe they will be good, but to have that third year in the Brewers bullpen, you know how rare that is, especially if you're not like a closer.
yeah.
To be like 3 full seasons, I mean, I would be impressed. Let's put it that way.
Hmm. Yeah. The only thing that I think is like still outstanding as really to note for spring training is um Vinny Capra 2 homer day with a walk off. So that's pretty cool.
Bang.
Not sure where he fits in this year's infield, but it seems like it's wide open. So maybe we see him this year.
What about your boy Cole Ali Dunn?
Hey,
Him and Reese
today he's
going back
getting
to back.
hot. He's heating
Hmm.
up.
I will say I've seen a lot of Ortiz at short and a lot of Terang at second. Is that how you guys think that it'll fill out?
Yeah, I think barring any other moves, just because, yeah,
Well, the
gives
dude
us the
just won the
most.
platinum glove at second base. Why would you move him?
Yeah,
I just
I think
you're
I
not going
think
to get somebody better at second base. Like, why not
no.
just move Ortiz over? I don't.
exactly. I think you try Ortiz first, and as long as he's serviceable, you keep it that way. You always know that you can try Terrain there later if need be, but
Well, I know
yeah.
when we got Ortiz, like he simply was a shortstop. Like he had to
Mhm.
get used to playing third. So I'd hope. I think the idea was that defensively he can handle the position. So,
I'm sick
um,
of I'm sick of being underwhelmed by the offense on our corner infielders. Like most teams, those
well, you're gonna
I
have to
know,
be okay
I
with it
know,
one more year.
I know. I'm just saying though, like I like Ortiz, and I think he's going to be a serviceable major leaguer. But like most teams, their first and third basemen are just like so nice at the plate, and we're just constantly rolling out like Luis Arias and Ryan Healy. Like, come on now, let's.
That was almost 5 years ago, and
I
people
know.
are still talking about Ryan Healy, bro. He's just catching strays at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Well, even when we had a Ramos Ramirez, we had to wait until we got rid of Prince Fielder. So when can I have a nice like
Hey, you had
three?
Fielder and Braun for the 2007 season.
I did. You're right.
Yeah.
That was almost 20 years ago.
I
Holy
know.
shit.
Yeah, that is a holy shit. Yeah,
Oh,
this year's
crazy.
20 years since Prince was a rookie.
Wow.
That makes me feel less old.
Even if Prince had never had that crazy neck injury, he still might like just have retired by now. That's crazy to think about because you think, oh, he retired so young. Like now it just would have been year 21. I doubt it.
Well, I had to look at I don't know why, but I was looking at Ryan Braun's I was looking at something about him and his age was on there. And he's just turned
41.
41.
I was
And
looking
I'm
at it
like,
today too.
I was like, oh my God. I remember being like, he retired so young, like he had so many years left, and now he probably would have been
Yeah,
retired for
it's
like a year
gone.
or two anyways.
We
Yep.
Like,
are
what?
officially old, guys.
Yep.
That is
Now
crazy.
we play this game where the people we watched growing up were like, holy shit.
Well, then you
Mhm.
see Ryan Braun in like these Instagram pictures, and he looks the exact same when he
I don't know.
retired.
I saw a picture of him from just the other day with Yelly, and I thought he's starting to look a little older. And much as I love Braun, I know some people on this podcast don't. I could see him being the type of guy to be getting like the Botox or something in his face. It looked like he might have had some sort of like.
Nah,
Oh
don't do
I
yeah.
gotta
that.
find the
Oh,
picture
he would
now.
never put a needle
Back
Yeah,
foreign
issue.
substance
yeah.
inside
No,
his
no, they run
body.
it up through his ass, up his torso, into his face. Because
When Ryan Braun comes on this podcast, you guys, it's just going to be me and Bronny talking because you guys are going to be shunned.
yeah,
I'll tell him how much I used to like him.
yeah.
Mm.
Speaking of us being old, CC Sabathia's son is saw a video of him hitting a tank for University of Houston. That's awesome.
That is hype.
Hmm.
Speaking of
I thought
university ball, Scoop, did you see that your alma mater just swept the first
I
series
did. I did.
4-0?
I've always predicted that someday soon I'll say, "Oh, I played baseball at Parkside." People go, "Oh my gosh, they're a D2 powerhouse." It's gonna happen.
I thought you
Not
were
when
gonna
I
s-
played there. Yeah.
I
I'm
I was
thought
trying to
you
going
were
to
find
gonna
the
say,
picture of Braun.
when I was there, you guys won 3 games when I was coaching. They just won more games in 2 days than we did in the 2 months I was there.
All right, you weren't at all the series is.
I was at
I
the
don't think he
first.
had to be.
I was at the first a
You were
lot.
there. You were there when we were touching up Chad Patrick, though.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
don't know. I
thought
can't find the picture, but if Braun looked older slash had work done on his face,
I
and
thought
or it's an Andor.
That's slander. That is
It's an
slander.
Andor situation.
thought you were gonna say, speaking of foreign substances, Sal Frelick put on an alleged 25 pounds.
Yeah, 25 pounds of muscle. Like, all right,
I
whatever.
wouldn't advertise that if it was true.
Yeah, correct. And even if he did if he put on 25 pounds of anything in one off season, I'd be like, he's
Yeah.
5'8". Wasn't like skinny, like scrawny before. If that dude
I was
actually
saying,
weighed 25 pounds,
pretty.
that would be some shit. And then to let alone, I like Adam McCalvy a lot, but for him to not realize that 25 pounds of muscle in 4 months is like not even close to remotely humanly possible.
The only thing I'll
But
say is I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. If he put on 25 pounds from the start of last year, whenever he put his weight online, so
mhm.
like the spring training last year to now, I mean, even that 25 pounds of muscle in a year is quite a bit for somebody who's
Yeah.
pretty much already at peak athleticism.
I
And
know. Yeah,
Unless
but
he's still growing vertically too.
I was just saying, put on an inch.
yeah. Yeah, he's like rookie Giannis. He grew
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking
I
of free my boy Bobby Portis. What do you guys think there? You think that he was
I
it
think he
was
did it and I don't care. It doesn't matter. 25
no, I'm
games,
saying
he'll
you
be
think it
back.
was a misunderstanding or you think that's just a cover up?
I don't know. Bobby seems like a good man.
Yeah,
I
he
would
does.
say Bobby seems like a competitor who would do anything to help his team, and I'll leave it at that.
Who do you trust more,
I
Bobby
just don't
Portis
think that
or Ryan
Tramadol
Braun?
is like really
I
giving him
I I trust Bobby Portis more to answer your question, Coach Keen.
Wow.
Portis or Braun.
Yeah.
Yeah, who do you
Yeah,
trust?
Portis is a way better teammate for
It's definitely
sure.
Bobby Portis. I have no real like personal reason to dislike Ryan Braun, but
But you
I
are. You're
I feel
you're
like
coming around to the dark
nah,
side.
I just feel like I don't know.
You're
No,
a bad person.
I'm not.
You're
I
Oh yeah,
love
you're a
letting
bad person, Scoop.
you're
You
let,
don't you don't blindly love Ryan Braun.
you're letting
I
Cole.
do love
Are
Ryan
you
Braun.
anti-Semitic, Scoop?
For the official record, I am not. Knows anyone on this pod,
I
Ryan
don't
Braun.
know.
Yeah.
You're just letting Cole just poison you.
Yeah.
You
No,
were on my side.
I think of it more as my affinity for Bobby Portis. Just
Yeah,
think of it that way. That's more so what it is.
Bobby Portis definitely gets way more love for his talent level than Ryan Braun did for his talent level, which should show you how much the
Like
city
you're
likes
saying,
him.
like relatively, like a
Yeah, like
ranking.
people chanting Bobby and
Yeah.
Bobby for a six
If I
man.
remember correctly, there were some MVP chants in
Or
2011.
yeah, there was some MVP chance for Bobby Portis though. If that doesn't say enough.
That's ironic though. It's just not. It's not like a serious thing.
Yeah, well, Braun probably he does he even have an MVP?
I don't know. They might have
Oh
stolen it.
no.
Yeah.
Yes. he very notably did not give it away to Matt Kemp.
Did he ever come out and make a public statement, or did he
He
just like
said,
wait for
he
Waters?
said, he said, yeah, all right, I did it. And they're like, all right, give your MVP away. He goes, it's
No.
mine. No, stop.
He just chucked his phone into the river and was like, "Yep, we're never gonna
Yeah,
talk about that again."
yeah.
I was gonna say back to the actual game so far. Cooper Pratt had a double, which is it's awesome. And I think Luis Lara also had a nice game. So the young guys are getting it done, which is really fun to see in camp because both those guys had big years last year. So
Yep.
Did Jesus Made get into the game? By the way, did anybody?
Oh, try again.
As I say, he didn't
Mate,
get in.
I don't think
I
he's been in yet.
I was just saying,
I'll
I
just start
highly
calling him
doubt it.
Jesus Made then, if you want to.
Yeah, if
Is
you're
it
gonna
Made?
mispronounce any part.
Do it
That's the
both
best.
ways. Do it both ways.
Jesus Made.
And
Yeah.
my guy Ernesto hit a dong
Yeah.
and hit the splits. I remember last year when I was doing like some of the prospect profile stuff. He was just a fun guy to watch, and he's sponsored by Spiders, so hopefully Spiders pays him.
Oh, fuck spiders.
Dude, don't even get
Um,
started.
Ernesto Martinez is someone who could fit the bill for what we need. He hits lefty and he's listed as a first baseman and center fielder.
Dude, he
So,
did play center. I remember looking. He's
right.
fast, but
So
he's still
the
kind of raw. But
I was
he's
to say the
he's
main issue, 0 games at AAA. So that's
I was gonna
this
unfortunate.
say,
year. That's
isn't
what
he
this year
an
is for.
older? He's an older prospect too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 26. I was
Yeah.
listening to I
Yeah,
think
almost 26 June.
Todd Rosiak was talking today, and he said
He
Ernesto
said
Mart
he's an older prospect. He's younger than me. Fuck.
uh, he said that he learned English to talk to the girls in like I think they were in Arizona or something. He was with Eric Gagne. I don't know why he was with Eric Gagne. I think it was talking about him. Um, but anyways, he
Oh,
said
he
he
was with
learned English.
Gagne? Well,
I thought
now
Uh-oh.
so.
this dude's on
Uh-oh.
roids.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say,
So
talk about
Martinez
anything
taking
with the needle.
HGH. Yeah.
But yeah, the one other thing I wanted to ask you guys is especially with I guess it's partly because he's slightly banged up, but Tyler Black hasn't played yet, and I'm just curious to see if you guys think Tyler Black is going to be a big contributor this year, or if by the end of the season he's wearing a different jersey and was traded for something.
All signs point to Tyler Black would make sense on this roster, in my opinion. But for some reason, I just get the vibe that there are some like underlying metrics that the Brewers hate about him based on what happened
Yeah,
last year. That my gut tells me that he's gonna end up being like a non-factor trade or something, which is unfortunate because I was really excited about him. A guy who's just like steals a fuck ton of bases, plays all over the field, and a pretty solid hit tool. So I was really excited about him, but unfortunately, it seems like the Brewers may, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but that's my thought.
As much as I want Tyler Black to succeed, I just don't. I don't see that they're kind of paving the way for him to make any sort of positive impact on this team. Especially since they signed Mark Canha. I mean, I don't think it hurts him
exactly.
100%, but that also just adds another guy that clogs it up. If they were super excited about this guy, why are they? One, they signed Jake Bauers back, which I thought for sure he was going to be gone, and now they have Mark Canha as well. So you have 3 guys that are going to be ahead of him probably on the depth chart at first base, and then what? You're going to try him out at third, or
Yeah,
maybe he'll play center. I
they
mean,
hate
I
his
just
defensive profile though, which is what makes it
Right.
tough with how much we
I,
value defense.
exactly. So that's why it's like it just I don't. I agree with Scoop that I just think he'll just kind of be a non-factor unless somebody gets hurt and he's forced to play, which maybe that's what would be best for him, where he can play every day. But if he comes up and gets 3 at bats a week, I don't think that's good for him anyways. But you can't keep him in AAA forever, so I could
Yeah.
definitely see him being a part of a trade if he doesn't crack not only the opening day roster, but like the first 2 months of the season, he's not brought up at all.
Yeah, I think offensively he definitely has talent. It's just a matter of how much we value defense and what it seems like he can do at this point. But there's a lot of teams I think that could definitely utilize him right now in their starting lineup. So if we move him, I at least think it can be for something that will, significantly help us in some way. So that at least is a positive.
And one last thing about that is that the Brewers' offensive profile is like exactly what he is. I feel like if the Brewers didn't have a ton of guys who could, hit for contact and steal bases, I think that it would be a lot easier for him to fill a need. So he would be brought up a little earlier, but I don't think. I think, like you said, he would be better off somewhere else where he can contribute to somebody else's need. Because right now he's just a luxury.
Yeah, I hope they don't give up on him after 57 major league plate appearances. So, all right, final thoughts. I gave all my thoughts.
You guys know what this hat is? I picked it up this weekend. I was
Uh,
here.
no, it looks like some sort of spin on a Toronto Blue Jays hat. What is it, a Mallard's hat?
It is a Toledo Mud Hens hat, AAA
Oh.
affiliate, I believe, of the Tigers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's their throwback hat.
Nice.
They have
I like it.
more modern hats, but
I like it.
thanks.
My final thought is that if you guys or anybody else has not listened to Jeff Levering signing on for the first game
Mm,
of the season, giving his tribute to Bob Uecker, I suggest you go find that, give it a listen. It was quite heartbreaking. No idea how he wasn't crying, but it was quite nice to listen to. And I know they have a chair and everything set up for him, so can't wait to see what they do when they get back to Milwaukee for the season.
Yeah. Speaking of spring training, I was thinking about this. My dad said something. He mentioned like a friend, I think, or I don't know who did, but that they like rent a house in Arizona almost every year for spring training. In retirement, that would be such a fun like month to spend. I get
hmm
so jealous when I finally see the game start rolling and just it's like such laid back baseball, still high stakes for some guys. So you're watching guys give it their all, but it's also
hmm
like a chill vibe. And then you're in the Phoenix. Oh, that thanks to Scoop, I got to experience spring training. But yeah, definitely would like to run that back sometime.
Yeah,
Well, I've never been. I wasn't invited.
for
Yeah.
sure. Um, yeah, that's all I got. We'll talk soon. Maybe a couple weeks from now, we'll start talking about our preseason predictions. So,
Yep. Once a little more, some more things get figured out, I think.
yep. All right. Thanks for listening. Go Brewers.